I was a victim of a sexual assault crime that Kaalan Walker was convicted of. Yes, I had a police report. Yes, I had a rape kit. Yes, I had matching DNA evidence. And yes, I was subpoenaed to come into court and testify on March 11th and 12th of 2022. Hi, my name is Jamie, and this is my story.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Let me introduce you guys, Jamie. Jamie is a victim, a documented victim of Kaalan Walker. She had done some testimony in court, and it was a very powerful testimony, right? And she will share with us what she wants to share with us today. I really appreciate you, Jamie, for joining us today, for being available. I was afraid to reach out to you and ask you, hey, can you interview you because part of it, I never know when people are ready to talk about things like that. And you are just, I'm ready to tell my story.
I know that in the media it was portrayed as he preyed on models or people who were aspiring to be models. But I wasn't in that category. I was a complete stranger. At the time, I was 21, and it was back in 2015 when it happened to me. I was a server, and I worked a late shift, a very late shift. And my coworkers decided to go to a selection event where GoldLink was playing, and I decided to go with them, and that's how it happened. But today, I am just this tragedy is obviously a part of me, and now having to relive it through my testimony, it's molded me to the person I am today. Of course, for so long I suppressed it, but I feel that I truly believe in divine timing and just trusting the process, especially after this whole entire journey. It's been so long. But I do feel that I need to speak about my experience and spread awareness. I mean, not just the traumatic experience itself, but also how I was even told by the DA that the system failed me because my file just kept getting lost in the archives. And finally, I was reeled into trial. And because of the substantial evidence that I had, I was able to testify, and it was so crucial for me to testify because of the substantial evidence that I had in my file.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking you, Jamie? How old were you when all of this happened to you?
When this happened to me, I was 21, and this was 7 years ago. So back in 2015.
Wow. So it's taking this long.
Yeah, it's been it's after going through the process with like detectives and then the DA and then being cross-examined for 2 days. It definitely, I think over time, you become more comfortable in speaking about it, especially if it's for a good reason and it's to help others. And so that other people who are in my position or who have experienced something like this could relate and can learn something valuable from what I'm saying or what I went through.
Right.
And that's why I'm here today and speaking to you. It was 2015, November. I was a server at the time, and my coworker had very similar taste in music and would go to selection events with me. GoldLink was playing at the time. We worked a long shift, and I spontaneously agreed. We went, tickets were sold out, but we ended up helping a drunk man back to the back door where VIP was, and his brother was the security. So the security was like, "Oh, thank you so much for helping my brother," because we were like literally carrying him because he was so drunk. And the security was like, "Oh, why don't you guys come on in and enjoy yourselves? There's not much time left." And so we went in and we're in VIP. There were so many creators and so much creativity in the room. We're led in through the back by security, and we were there until about 3 or 4 a.m. And after the show, we were talking to all of the artists that were in the back, and including GoldLink. So when the show was over, GoldLink and I and my coworkers were all taking photos together. I actually have some photos of that night. Would you like for me to give you guys some, like, just so that you guys can have a visual of that night? I had these photos because I sent them to the DA, and then I had to retrieve it from an old computer along with screenshots of him messaging me through text. So
Okay.
this was the night. So as you see,
Okay, we see it.
Yeah, that's me, that's GoldLink, and that's my coworker.
Okay.
And these photos were actually taken by Kaalan Walker. So what happened was, and this is where it began. The night was, we had a great night up until it got really dark. And what happened was, we're outside conversating with GoldLink, and we were taking photos with him. Kaalan comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, would you like for me to take those photos for you?" And I was like, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was being a kind person. And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, thank you so much." And he's like, "Yeah, no problem." And so he took those candid like photos. I thought he was a photographer because he had a camera hanging down his neck. I remember seeing him because of the camera hanging down his neck back in VIP, but I didn't pay attention to him. We didn't talk or anything up until he approached me when I was speaking to GoldLink. Basically, he was kind enough to take the photos of me, GoldLink, and my coworker. And from then on, he immediately was like, "Oh, do you have Instagram?" And I was like, "Yeah." And like, I didn't think anything of this. It was just so casual. You know, people nowadays get their social, and it wasn't a big deal. I didn't see anything yet. And
At this time, he hadn't made his movies yet, right? I don't think any of those were out. I don't believe he had made them at all.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was. Like I said, I was a complete stranger. And that's why the DA, it was so crucial for me to be a part of the case because of the narrative that he was portraying into the media and what his attorney was, they were painting a certain story about like these young females being like they wanted something from him, like his fame or his connections or something. And with me, I was a complete stranger. I had no idea who he was, and there was nothing that I expected from him or anything like that. And then, so moving on with the story, basically, he put down his social, and then he also added his number. I did not ask for it. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to put my number down." Okay. Didn't think anything of it. I carry on. So I'm speaking with my friends, and or my coworkers and with other artists still, we're just hanging around. And basically throughout that time, he had his eye on me, but I wasn't aware. And he comes up to me one more time. He was basically preying on me. I had no idea. And by that, I mean, he had this system. Of course, I realized it after the fact, but just the way he did everything, it was just so smooth. It was just like I didn't see anything until I was in it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And by that I mean, so he goes ahead and puts his social and his number in my phone. I'm back with my coworker and my coworkers. I was with two at the time, and we are still there. And he comes and approaches me again, stating, "GoldLink is my brother. He's really feeling you and wants to invite you personally to his after party." GoldLink and I were getting along very well. There's a photo where I'm like touching his arm, and that I do that genuinely, to people. It's not to like flirt with them or something. It's just like, oh wow, like good for you, or like I'm so proud of you, or just something genuine. And so I know by that photo and my hand placement, I connected with him on a spiritual level, and I resonated with him through his creativity. And when he said that, and of course he was watching us speak, and maybe that's why he implemented that. I don't know. It was obviously his way of reeling me in. He goes, "Yeah, there's going to be an after party. He wants you to come." And I go, well, let me go ahead and check with my coworkers because I came with them and I'm not leaving without them.
GoldLink didn't tell you about the after party then, right? It sounds like you found out, was it through KR about the after party? Okay.
Yeah. At the time, GoldLink, I don't know where he was. Basically, Kaalan, we're like, at that point, I think like walking towards back to the car, and he comes after me and he's like, "Hey, really quick, GoldLink wants you to come back to his after party. He's really feeling you." And I go, "Oh, well, I need to talk to my friends." And when I did, one of them was like, "Oh, it's GoldLink. You have to go," like, because he was a big fan. And then my girlfriend, she was like, "Oh, by yourself?" And I was like, "I don't think so. Like, I wanted them to all come too." I asked. He said next time, and it was through text. And these text messages, I had screenshots of them, which I went ahead and gave to the DA. So when he was I messaged him asking if my friends could go, he said next time. And after that, my friend was like, "Oh, you're gonna go alone?" And I made sure it was okay with them if they were going to wait for me. And I decided to just go for a little bit. It was already so late. I think the event ended at 2, and we stayed like around hanging out until 3, I believe. After that, I ended up deciding to go with him to continue my conversation with GoldLink. And so I meet with him. He goes, it was very skeptical, but then again, like it just wasn't clicking. Like, but the red flags were there because he did ask me, he was like, "Oh," he called me and was like, "How did you guys get here?" And I go, "My friend was driving." "Oh, okay. Well, I see you come in the car, like look ahead. I'm right there. don't let your friends see. I remember him saying something weird like that, but I ignored it because I thought I didn't hear right or something. And well, anyways, I get in the car with him, and from then on, I mean, when you look at this guy, Kaalan Walker, he doesn't look intimidating. He doesn't look, I didn't think he was just that. I didn't think he was intimidating. It didn't look like he was, I mean, I don't want to speak negatively about anyone, not even him, but, capable of doing such things that he has done. And at the time, of course, I was young and so naive and just thought the absolute best in everyone. I never wanted to think negatively. I kind of went about life thinking, up until they do you wrong, then have that sort of judgment on them. And we were in the car and he starts asking me just basic casual questions. The ride from the event to where he took me to, which was an empty hotel room, there was no after party. The car ride there was very short. It was very brief. I'd say like 4 or 5 minutes. And in the car, he just asked very casual questions like my name, where I'm from, what do I do, and things like that. How do I know about selection events? And then when we arrive, he starts asking some very weird, personal, and I thought perverted questions. We get there and he starts asking about like my sexual life. And I remember telling him, hey, the only people I've had sex with in my life were guys who I was in love with and in relationships with. I don't have casual sex like that, so I can't answer your questions in terms of that. And then he kind of digs in a little bit deeper, asking me like, what's the freakiest thing I've done? And then at this point, we're in the elevator and I'm thinking, okay, this kid is weird. Like, why are you asking me this stuff? And
were you intoxicated at all during this time?
no.
Okay.
I did not drink. I did not smoke. Like I said, I worked a late shift and it was spontaneous. And I mean, the tickets were sold out. We weren't even we got in because we helped a drunk guy, happened to be the brother of the security guard that was guarding the door for VIP.
Right. So you're thinking you're walking into an after party with someone that's friends with him as well, right?
Yeah. So, well, I'm thinking I'm walking into, he's taking me to the after party where Gold Link is at. And yeah, but that's not what happened. He took me, he opens a door and it was completely empty, vacant, not a single person. And that's when my heart really sank in and was like, at the time when things like this happen, everyone deals with things like this situation very differently. But with me, I was like confused, shocked, and almost like frozen because I'm just like, is this really happening? Wait, what is this? Like, it completely threw me off. But like in the elevator, getting to, and I actually thought it was a hotel at the time because everything was furnished and modern. But after realizing it was actually just modern apartments, we're in the elevator. He starts asking really perverted questions. And I start thinking, like, why are you asking this? Like, I was like, whatever, he's weird. I'll just, like, you know, ditch him and then have my friends pick me up. That was like my thought in the elevator, because he was trying to have a weird conversation that I couldn't really tap into, because I was just like, I can't relate. Like, I don't even know you. And then we get to the room and he opens it. It's completely vacant. And I'm thinking, what is this? And he goes, oh, we're going to go to the after party. I'm just stopping by here to get some water, and I have to grab something. I'm like, okay. And I'm waiting, like, outside of the door, like, and he's like, come on in, like, have some water. Like, you know, don't be so tense. And I'm like, okay. And he was insisting for me to drink water. I didn't take anything. I was so weirded out. Again, I didn't know how much trouble I was in until I was deep in trouble. Like, so I'm in there, and then he goes on again with these questions, and I go, hey, like, it's already late. Can you just take me back? And he goes, no, just relax. I have to do this. Basically, he has to, like, interview the girls for his brother or something. And I'm like, and I was having this conversation, like, I just didn't understand what he was trying to prepare me for. I thought he was just taking me to a party, like an after party, so that I can continue my dialogue with GoldLink. I didn't think that he kind of made it seem like he was trying to prep me to, like, hook up with him or see if I'm fit enough to be with him or something. I have no idea. All of this was just kind of like going in one ear out the other, as I just started to, like, think, you know, I'm like, okay, this guy is officially weird. I got to get out. So I asked to use the restroom, and he goes, yeah, it's right there. I go, so I can go ahead and text my friend, tell her to come pick me up, like, immediately. And as I get up, I'm in such, like, an anxious state, I forget my phone. But I didn't realize it once I walked into the restroom. There was no door, so there was no privacy. It was so weird. It was like a kind of like a loft setup. And so I'm like, well, there's no privacy. I can't call her. And I don't, where's my phone? So I come back, and then, yeah, that's when I knew I was in big trouble, because I couldn't find my phone, and I was freaking out, looking for my phone everywhere. And he was just watching me freak out. Like, I was like, have you seen my phone? I know I left it here. Like, and just watching me, and I'm, like, panicking. And then that's when things turned, and I knew I was in big, big trouble, because the moment I looked at him, it was like glass. He had my phone, and he was like, your phone's right here, and basically insinuated, you'll get back to your friends if you just relax and you be a good girl. And I'm like, what? Basically, wow. He then asks me, do you know where you're at? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in LA. And he goes, no, but do you know exactly where you're at? And I go, no. And he goes, exactly. So we can do this the hard way, or we can do this the easy way. I don't want this to be hard for you. You're a smart, beautiful girl. Like, he starts trying to, like, charm me and say things like, you're so beautiful, and you're so smart. Like, you know what to do, and just feeling, I was just like, danger, danger, danger. Like, you know, I was like, shut up. Like, I'm trying to think. But in the moment, it was so hard because like my heart's pounding, and there's a million things going in my head. And then also a side of me like thinking, is this even real? Like, what is this? I hope he's like just kidding. But no, because like I said, he didn't look threatening. I mean, he's not so big in a sense, like he's not tall, and he's not like very muscular or anything. I'm 5'2", by the way. I am tiny. I weigh 105 pounds. But he's like, I don't know, he has to be less than like 5'10", right? He's not that tall.
He
Anyway.
doesn't give that aggressive look out, but here he is giving you a choice. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what does one or the other mean, right? And I can only imagine you being in that situation.
Yeah.
Like being in shock of, well, what are you saying? And what does this all mean? What's about to happen now?
Yeah, because
I'm confused, right?
And there's no way of me contacting anyone.
Right. He has your property.
And then he goes, you know, tries to like smooth talk me or something, trying to get me to calm down, because I'm like tense. I'm really tense. I'm like, and I like was telling myself, like, before you flip out and like think the worst, like just hear him out type thing. Like, because I was really trying not to assume the worst, even though the worst was about to happen. Actually, no, the worst was I would have been killed and not alive today. But yeah, he basically had my phone and asked me, do you know where you're at? I go, no. And he goes, exactly. So we can do this the easy way or the hard way, but you're smart enough. I know that you're going to do just fine. And I'm like, huh? And then basically he goes, now just like relax, like sit down. And I'm like, okay, just sit down. And at this point, I'm scared because I don't know what to do, and I don't know what's about to happen. And I begin to just I'm quiet, right? Because I'm thinking. And he starts talking, and I'm in my head like, okay, just play nice, because now you don't know who this guy really is. Because if he can get you into this hotel room and somehow sneak away your phone, all this like so easily, and almost it seemed like so effortlessly, like he's done it before, what else is this man capable of? And that year, to give you a little recap, that year I had surgery. I had a breast augmentation, and I was still recovering. And I just remember thinking, I just had surgery. Like, I really, like, I can't get hit, because I already sensed danger from him. And my mind was, you know, thinking the worst. And I was just like, if I don't listen to him, what if he hits me? What if he pulls out a weapon? What are you going to do? I'm like, okay, run. Like, just get out and run. And I'm like, what if he has a gun? Like, it literally just things like, and then back to reality, he starts saying, oh, I want you to get comfortable. You're so beautiful. Let me take some photos of you. I'm like, absolutely not. I don't know you. And he was like, hey, remember, I have your phone. Like, come on, just relax. And I go, like, I told him no, but then he's like, hey, I have your phone. And I'm like, no, just please, can you give me back my phone so we can go? And he was like, just one photo. And I go, fine, take your photo. He goes, well, I need you to relax. I need you to pose. And I'm like, I'm not going to, you want your photo, take your photo. And then he goes, no, like, you know, like, show some skin. You're too covered up. I was wearing a long sleeve and jeans and high knee boots, what I wore to work. I wasn't trying to look sexy or anything. Like I literally just, I went to work, and then after work, I went to a music event. And anyway, he just kept pushing me to do things I didn't want to do. And he promised that he would give me my phone back if he just took this one sexy picture of me. And even then I began to cry because it's not something I do, or not something I already felt violated. Let's just say that, because that was very wrong. He shouldn't have held me hostage with my phone saying, you know, if you don't do this, I'm not going to give your phone back. And me being in fear, and it's like amplified because I just had surgery in my breast, thinking if I don't do what he says, he's going to probably hit me, or I don't know, surprise me with something, like, I don't know. Anyway, the photos are taken, and he kept wanting me to take my top off, and I ended up doing so, and he wanted the bra off. I was like, no, absolutely not. No, like, no. And then he gets closer and closer to me, and I'm like, no, please, no. At first, I was very emotional. I was crying and I was scared, and I told him, please, no. Take anything you want. You can take my purse. You can take my money. You can have my phone. I don't even care, but just please let me go. And he just kept getting closer and closer, and I zoomed away from him. And then he starts getting frustrated because I'm not like into it. I don't want that. He was trying to force himself upon me, and I was trying to tell him politely, please no, please no. And that wasn't working. And then he kept reminding me about my phone. And then I started, so it moved from me being really emotional to me getting frustrated. And then I was getting angry. I was like, because I had enough. Like, I was like, I need to go back home. Oh, it was because my father called. I had a certain ringtone for my parents at the time, or when they called me. And also my friends called me, and he answered the phone. They were asking, like, hey, like, where are you? And he's like, hey, bro, like, she's good. Yeah, we're having so much fun. Like, something like that. Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. Hangs up, and I'm like, wow. Like, he literally just put on a show, telling my friends everything's like okay, and we're at a party, and I was just so stunned. And again, there's a lot going on through this time. And I'm not gonna like go too into detail, but basically what happened was he was forcing himself upon me. I was crying at first, and then I started then I was mad, and I was trying to fight him off. I was squirming around. He pushed me. He was then becoming more forceful. I had bruises on my knees, and there's photos of that in the rape kit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the forensic nurse. That whole experience too is another, like, wow. sexual assault victims. Like, I don't know if you know about the process of what victims have to go through.
I do. I'm familiar. Every county is a little bit different though, but I'm assuming they're probably similar in process wise.
Yeah, it's insane. But basically, I did everything I could in my power to fight him off. But he did penetrate me. There was a time, a few times actually, where he just forcefully just did it. I was, I was just trying to blank it out like it wasn't happening. And then he didn't succeed in a sense where like he felt satisfied, and I don't think he came because I was making it so hard for him. I was squirming around, I was moving a lot, I was pushing him, I kicked him, like, and then I was scared because I'm like, oh, dude, like, he's gonna hit you. Like, but at the time, like, I just didn't want him inside of me. Like, I didn't want it. And I did everything I could. And when he did it, I just remember him being like super frustrated. And he was like, I was crying a lot. And he finally was like, just like, he let me just like walk away. Like, he wasn't trying to bring me back and finish. I immediately felt so disgusted. I remember going straight to the bathroom, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I need to wash myself. Like, I feel so disgusting. Like, I don't even know how I was able to like talk to him, but he was like, "You have to keep everything neat. Don't mess anything up. Don't make a mess." Like, it was so weird. It was as if like that apartment complex, like, I also forgot to tell the DAs this, but the people in there knew him. It seemed that way because we were in there and everybody like looked him straight in the eye and was like, "Oh, what's up?" Or maybe he was just saying hi, but it was just weird. The whole room aspect. He wanted everything looking like it wasn't messed with. Like he had to go back and fix it. After that situation, he walked me down. That I was just still so stunned about like what happened. I don't even know how that elevator trip was. All I was just thinking about, and he gave me back my phone, and he said something so disgusting and disturbing. He was like, I'll tell Goldlink that you did okay. You didn't do great or good, but you did okay." And I was like, I couldn't even, I was.
You're the second or third person I've heard say that after he's done, he says something like really derogatory or disgusting to demean the person. I do remember another victim when she was giving her statement, very young girl, and it was even publicized on, I think it was like Fox 16 or something, that was a common thing he would do, like berate you afterwards.
Yeah, I definitely did see a pattern in the stories and how he would lure women, because he tried to do the same thing to my best friend, which was my coworker at the time too. The same thing right after I was just raped. So like basically after the fact that this happened, finally get down, and my friends, my coworker, they were right outside waiting for me. I didn't know, but he did send them the address. And I immediately, after the elevator, I like ran outside to like look for them. I just saw like my coworker's car, and my best friend, she, I think, went inside to use a restroom or something. So I only saw my male coworker, and I was outside And I'm like, I can't even speak. I wasn't even able to speak, but I don't know where he went, but I look at my coworker at the time and friend and I go, like, where's Vanessa? And he goes, oh, I think she's over there. And I look and they're talking. Like she's talking to him. And I again freeze. I can't even talk. And I'm like holding Carl. I'm like, get her, please. Like, get her. And he's like, are you okay? And like I couldn't like say like her name. It was so weird. Like I was like almost paralyzed in a sense, or beginning to get paralyzed. Like I couldn't like move fast. I couldn't like.
You were in shock.
Yeah.
In shock.
And basically, he yells her name and then she comes and the first thing she says, gosh, like he's so weird. And I was like, what? And he goes, she finishes off stating, he kept trying to get me to come up to look at the view from the penthouse suite and said that the party was lit and that I should go up there. And again, like frozen, like I couldn't even speak. And the whole car ride home, I didn't speak. They had no idea what just happened. I then, went home. No matter how many times you shower, you can't get the nasty feeling out. Like I felt so disgusting. And it was just so dark. I've never felt such darkness like that. It really truly felt like there was a dark cloud hovering over me. Like